Well, Sightsavers is appalled that there are over 300 million people in the world who are blind, and of those, 3/4 of them don't really need to be. Their blindness could actually be avoided. It could be prevented or cured. So one of the key parts of Sightsavers' mission is that we want to eliminate avoidable blindness from the world. We also want to work with those blind people who we can't cure, who are irreversibly blind, and we want to make sure that they have rights too, and we want to make sure that those rights are satisfied, and so they can live as equal members of society, sharing lives of dignity like those that we have. So there are two parts to our mission. The causes of blindness are not entirely known. Cataract is a very, very large cause. About half the blindness in the world is caused by cataract, and it hits people at a much younger age in developing countries. We don't really know why. Then there's a lot of glaucoma too, particularly actually in Africa, and there are not good treatments for glaucoma in the field. There's also diabetic retinopathy, particularly coming up in Asia. And then refractive error, which means short-sightedness, long-sightedness, just simply need for glasses. That's a very big problem, again, particularly in Asia, and of course you can imagine very, very cheap really to deal with. And then there are some really unpleasant sort of tropical diseases. We call them neglected tropical diseases. Trachoma is one where the eyelid turns inside out and gradually your eyelashes blind you. And then river blindness, the proper name for that's onchocerciasis. That's a disease where the black fly in a fast-flowing river bites you, lays its eggs which turn into worms, and then the worms actually die in your eyes and you gradually go blind. It's a really unpleasant thing. So those are the main diseases we're trying to fight. And the reasons why it's so difficult, if you look at Africa, there are so few health workers there. It's a problem generally, but it's a particular problem for us. So there are not the doctors and nurses that we need. There's a lack of equipment there, a lack of hospitals there. The primary healthcare system, so we're used in this country to visiting a GP, but that's very, very patchy. Particularly therefore if you live in a rural area, you just don't have access to health systems. And then another problem for us is that policymakers, they prioritise killer diseases, HIV, AIDS and malaria and TB, and blindness tends to be low down their priority list. Now that's a real shame, because actually blindness, and cataract operation in particular, is one of the most cost-effective health interventions that there is. And of course it causes such terrible distress, blindness, not just to the person who's lost their sight, but also to the family. Somebody asked me, where would you like Sightsavers to be in 60 years' time, when you're celebrating, I don't know, your double diamond, whatever it is. And actually the answer to that is I'd like Sightsavers to be gone. I would love to be in a situation where Sightsavers just was not needed anymore, because the governments across Africa and across Asia had actually taken on board the sort of approaches that Sightsavers has been advocating for, and is actually providing eye health to all its population. And we also see that disabled kids are included in education as a matter of course, and that there are organisations in all of those countries for disabled people, for blind people, championing their rights, making sure that they're looked after, and therefore Sightsavers just isn't needed anymore. That would be the ultimate dream for me.